David Davis joins us now. When I read about this, I couldn't quite believe it, that they were censoring you just because you were speaking against vaccine passports, which I would have thought was a fairly mainstream view.
Well, what it certainly is a central argument going on right now. I mean, the government keeps talking about them, and other politicians, and there were about half a dozen MPs there, I think, at the time, are arguing with it. So this is a central argument in which you've got to hear both sides. And YouTube took it upon themselves to say, well, this clashes with the official consensus, and therefore taking it down. That was pretty much the words they used.
Presumably, though, they've got some algorithm where if you're anti-vaccine passports, they probably assume that you're anti-vax, which of course you're not.
No, absolutely. Indeed, I went to a great deal of trouble at the beginning of the argument to say, look, I'm vaccinated, my family's vaccinated, I recommend you to get vaccinated, and supported the science on that. And indeed, I mean, the arguments I put were based on scientific work that has been published in the last 6 months, some of it by Public Health England. So it is quite extraordinary. But they've put it back up now, YouTube. I think they realised they've sort of rather burnt their own fingers. And when doing so, they apologised and they explained that it was initiated by an algorithm, but a human being made the decision. Although I have to say, I suspect it is entirely possible the human being wasn't even in Britain. Somebody somewhere else in the world making this judgment, and that makes it even worse. We've got somebody other than the British citizen actually deciding what British citizens are allowed to see and hear. And the other wonderful irony in this, of course, is it was Big Brother Watch that they shut down. You couldn't make this up. I mean, if you tried to invent a way of demonstrating that you can't trust the big platforms to police our free speech, this is it. This is the perfect parable, which, of course, is also perfectly timed.
The even worse thing, though, is that if your name hadn't been David Davis, if it had been Joe Bloggs, I doubt very much whether they would have put the video back up.
Oh, yeah. If it was Iain Dale, it would be in there for years.
Touche. No, but I mean, that's really worrying, though, isn't it? Because it just means that ordinary people who do now have a voice through social media platforms can effectively be censored with no recourse.
Yes, and indeed, actually, this is the latest example of really a long track of the platforms shutting down argument about this. I mean, for example, early on in the COVID-19 crisis, it was viewed as borderline lunatic to suggest that the disease might have come out of an escape from a laboratory. Right? Now, of course, there's a significant, respectable body of opinion saying it may well have done that. But early on, if you said that online, you'd probably get shut down. There are other legitimate arguments about whether lockdown works or not. All these bits of controversy where the government's one side. Apparently, the government scientists are on one side. That's not a time when you shut things down. But this is just the latest example of a load of these. Indeed, I actually think they shut down an account of a Nobel laureate, a Nobel scientist, talking about some of these issues. So I just think they can't be trusted. And of course, you make the point. If it wasn't a well-known politician and a well-known campaigning group, they may never have backed off. But that's why this, as I say, the timing is relevant, because literally today was the first new committee hearing for the online safety bill, which actually gives these people not just the right, but the duty to police the internet for things that I think the government's phrasing is are legal but harmful. And the question then is, whose judgment? Plainly, you can't trust this judgment.
OK, David, thank you. That's David Davis, the Conservative MP for Halton Price and Howden.